Welcome to Speaking of Business. I'm Goldie Hyder of the Business Council of Canada. During the COVID-19 crisis, we are featuring conversations with business leaders to find out how they are being affected by the pandemic and how are they responding. How can businesses adapt to physical distancing guidelines? Will the COVID-19 crisis change the way we work in the future? What could that so-called new normal look like? Those are questions Jeffrey Russell is thinking about. He is president of Accenture in Canada, a global professional services company that offers clients a range of expertise, including strategy and consulting and technology leadership. Welcome to the podcast, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Goldie. I'm delighted to be part of the series and join in. Thank you.
Well, let's just jump right to the core thing that people are thinking about. I mean, how are you and your team adapting during this crisis?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Firstly, I couldn't be prouder of our people across Accenture. And for that matter, our clients and our partners as well. I think our folks have really rallied with purpose to keep Canada moving, working very closely with our clients, adapting to their needs in real time. As we've put our safety and the well-being of our people front and center, we very much focused, I guess it was now 4.5, 5 weeks ago, on moving to a complete work from home model, as many of us have. And it was amazing to see almost, some 5,500 people across our group, across the country in 4 days, literally from Monday to Thursday, kind of pivot to that work from home model. I guess for many of us, working remotely is in our DNA at Accenture. Mm-hmm. In fact, we're one of the world's biggest users of Microsoft Teams for how we collaborate. And so the mobilization was quick. I think also it's probably worth mentioning in terms of working from home, a recognition that we're social beings at the end of the day, and we've tried to take that to heart. We're making our calls, video calls, wherever we can possible. We recognize there's kids and there's pets, and our partners are making appearances, and we embrace these moments. I know personally, my wife and I sharing the same working space and sharing the same kitchen space for meal breaks, etc. And we're also trying to be patient with each other. Parents are helping kids with school. Others are on their own, cooped up. We acknowledge things are not normal, so we're trying to incorporate all that into how we live and work. And then last but not least, we're trying to do some things that are very targeted and purposeful to help one another. So, for example, we recently launched a wellness program for all employees called Thriving Minds. That's based on research from Stanford. And it helps you to prioritize things like your mental well-being, understand and deal with stress, guidance on things like breathing and food and sleep, etc. And I know for me personally, the whole practice of mindfulness is very important. We've been incorporating that into my life and our lives and collectively.
That's good. A good insight for our listeners on that. Now, how about your clients, though? What are you hearing from them?
I think there's really kind of two worlds that are playing out over the last 5 weeks. As you'd imagine, the first world was the emergency response, the urgency, the notion of trying to get business continuity maintained, et cetera. So I think we've been helping our clients first and foremost on each of those regards, and in some cases also helping them ensure their people are safe and working from home and maintaining mission critical operations. We're also helping them with new ways of communicating in terms of new tools and technologies that we can both collaborate in the first instance, but also co-create and co-innovate, because we have to get work done together. In addition to just talking to one another. So how to do that. A couple of examples, interesting examples, one around supply chain and getting critical items through to people, including food and cleaning products and batteries and, of course, toilet paper, which is getting a lot of press time early on. And we're also helping the government get the financial stimulus out into the market.
How are you doing that, Jeffrey? That's interesting. How are you doing that?
For a variety of different departments, both federally and provincially, we're helping spinning up call centers overnight, literally 4 days response in the case of one example, to deal with overflow of calls. And through another example, actually building financial platforms to help in the case of getting money into the hands of business operators through financial institutions.
That's interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Now, I've been saying many times, and it's been said many times, I guess, over the past few weeks, that we're all in this together.
Yes.
Dealing with this crisis has also included giving back. You mentioned some of the wellness programs and things you're doing for your employees. What are you doing at Accenture for the community in which you operate?
Firstly, let me just say that, kind of the notion of responsible business and giving back is very much at the cornerstone of who we are, and it's in our DNA and our value set. And we recognize that, especially at this time, the imperative of business serving society and not the other way around. And how do we in turn help us do that? I think there's a few ways. One is we're working with various partners, clients, partners around how do we help in the case of healthcare and getting some of the healthcare products ultimately to the healthcare workers and the frontline workers, and working with different clients to help pivot their current capabilities to new capabilities in terms of auto part factories. We're seeing them pivot to ventilator manufacturing. We're seeing distillers making hand sanitizer, etc. We're seeing our grocery supply chains pivot and our clients in that space pivot to be able to move a lot more product. I think on the community partner side, we're prioritizing our focus in places where we think we can make the biggest impact. And a few examples there in terms of food banks. We're seeing an incredible spike, unfortunately, and therefore how do we help both the grocery supply chains get food into the food bank hands, and then equally, how do the food banks get it into the hands of citizens? United Way is another example, giving aid to Canadians. And then a last point, which I think is quite exciting for us, we have something called Skills to Succeed, and that's really about skilling up people looking to get into the workforce with improved digital skills, improved business and financial skills that may otherwise not get the opportunity. So we've, off the back of that work, we've created a learning exchange called the Skills to Succeed Learning Exchange. And we've offered that to our nonprofit partners who in turn are helping people gain new skills and get comfortable with technology as they think about pivoting through this and post this pandemic, what they're going to do to fruitfully get a job and get employed. And that's seen a big spike in terms of application and take up over the last few weeks.
It's probably not a fair question, Jeffrey, because it's dangerous to make predictions at any time. It's particularly dangerous to make them in a crisis. But, I said off the top here, like we should talk about what the new normal might look like. And I'm wondering if there are things that you would say, let's look 3 years out, not 6 months or 12 months, 3 years from now, where you're going to say, this crisis made these things natural, normal. What do you think those are? I mean, we're talking a lot these days about medicine and health and education and telework and so forth. But what really is going to change, in your opinion, for sure?
Yeah, I think the notion of telework, I think first and foremost, if I think about how we're all working today. And I think what we're seeing is our clients exploiting collaboration, ways of working much faster than otherwise they would. And they're under pressure now. And I think that'll continue. I think we're seeing, in the case of technology, the move to cloud, and I think we're seeing an accelerated look at that on behalf of our clients, though for many that really haven't moved down that path in earnest. I think this notion of resiliency is going to get much greater focus in terms of both the physical side of fulfillment within our clients' organizations and their supply chains, but I think also resiliency in terms of the way they collaborate as industries and as a country. I think this notion of comparative advantage as a country, I think the resiliency we now need to have as Canada, its capabilities and its abilities across the board, and how we compete as a country. So I'd say resiliency, I'd say a shift to cloud and collaboration. And yes, I think more and more will change the way we work at the heart of this.
Well, look, before I let you go, a final question, if I can squeeze one more in, and it's one that I know that you and I have talked about before and a big part of your job. How is this crisis changing you or informing you to be a better leader?
For me, leadership, a big element is building mutual trust and respect, creating this sense of transparency and openness. Kind of at a very emotional level, this has impacted us all in incredible ways. And I think being real and transparent and authentic as a leader, I think, is more and more coming to the fore. And I think authenticity overall is going to be a key attribute that we're all going to hopefully take something away from and learn from to build up that mutual trust and respect. Because I think also there's going to be a greater need for all of us. This working together notion is very, very important, and I think it's going to only accelerate. And I think, therefore, our level of transparency and mutual trust and respect that we can build across industry lines, across customer supplier lines, et cetera, will become more important to us as personal leaders, and really starting to continue to build on those past experiences. But I think this is going to bring that to the fore for all of us.
Terrific. Great place to end. Thanks for doing this, Jeffrey. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Goldie. My pleasure and our pleasure at Accenture.
Jeffrey Russell is president of Accenture in Canada. We've heard a wide range of voices and perspectives in this special series, and I encourage you to listen to more of our conversations at speakingofbiz.ca or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Goldie Hyder.